Mom, it's been a while. We had about 9 episodes to catch up on of Perfect Match.
We
Did
do.
you remember watching the first season of the show?
No, I don't remember watching the first season, but I
Where
was
Joey got
pretty
engaged to
into.
Carousel?
Right.
No? Yes. Okay.
Don't remember. I'm
So you don't
invested
remember.
in this season too.
You're invested? All right. Well, let's get into it. We have 9 episodes to cover. So let's go back to the very beginning. We'll kind of try to fly through as quickly as possible because there's a lot to get to. So we see in the beginning, we have the first set of matches, Dominique and Brighton, who are arguing nonstop, Elise and Harry, Micah and Stevan, I don't know how to say his name, Tulu and Izzy, and Zenthi and Kaz. Which of those couples did you like the best and the least?
Well, I'm an Izzy fan. I really like Izzy. I think he's a genuine person. Um, why he can't meet anybody? Well, hopefully now he did, but
Yeah.
I would say Izzy, and he was with Tulu.
Yes, Izzy and Tulu. Okay. So the Bald Beauties connecting, maybe more of a friend match than a love match. What did you
Right.
think of Dominique and Brighton? They could not stop arguing.
Yeah, I was getting tired of that myself. I could do that at home.
We're not going to go there. All right. And then you see Izzy trying to, he has a little bit of a crush on Micah. He's trying to get with Micah, but Micah shut it down pretty quickly. Do you think they would have made a good match?
Honestly, I don't think so. No.
Okay.
I I I don't know if anyone on that show was right for Izzy.
I think that's fair. I think he's a little bit older than the age range of the other matches there and is maybe looking for something serious. Whereas this show, as much as they say it's about finding your perfect match, is more about finding your perfect match for the next 2 to 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm buying that anybody's really there for true love.
Well, I got to be honest. I was shaking my head through every episode, going, "What heck happened to this generation?"
To this hey, it's not my generation. They're below me. So don't give me, it's pretty bad in this age too. You know what dating is like for me. So
Yes,
it can only go downhill from there. Now, in the first
true.
perfect match challenge, the compatibility challenge, we see them trying to do that kind of like, that cable car across the water. And
Mhm.
Brighton asks Dominique what her major is in college because she's giving advice and a strategy. And she says she's an engineer. And then he completely just ignores her and continues to do what he's going to do. I know that you're pretty traditional. What did you think of that?
I don't think they were working together. That's what I
No,
think.
not at all.
Not at all.
No.
They were
Were
like
you
on two separate planets.
They were. And he would not shut up. But they were them and Harry and Elise were the only two who got any movement, who made any progress in that. I was surprised because they do not seem compatible at all, but maybe it was just pure luck.
True.
What do you think of Harry and Elise as a couple?
Harry and Elise. Um, I gotta look at my little notes here. Oh,
So,
yeah.
oh, you
No, I
got it?
think
I
I
see that
think
face.
that Harry is not into Elise at all. Elise
Okay.
has a big crush on Harry. Why, I don't know, because he's a player.
Yes.
Harry's definitely a player.
Have you seen any of the other shows he's been on?
I have not. No, it's first time. I mean, Harry's a good-looking kid, but uh, he's a man-child. That's what Steven said, and he was right.
Steven, there you go.
Steven was right about Harry.
I think everybody's right about Harry, but we'll see. Jess kind of has love goggles on, I think, a little bit. And now they get into the boardroom after winning. They go on their little beautiful date. and they have choice of 4 guys to bring into the house. So they have Chris from Dated and Related, Justin from Surviving Paradise, Nigel from Too Hot to Handle, and Dom, who was on The Mole and Perfect Match Part 1. So they send Dominique and Chris on a date and Tolu and Dom on a date. So what did you think of the 2 new guys, Dom and Chris?
So Chris, oh, hard to read him. I think that he is just trying to find his angle about what he wants out of the show more than out of a dating relationship.
Okay. Do you buy that he's looking for a match, or what do you think he's there for?
No, I think he's just there for the celeb, being noticed. Not really.
What do you think?
Not,
Is anybody there to find an actual match?
so I thought Izzy was, and
Okay.
I thought Jess was, although I think everyone on that show was out of Jess's league. I
You
mean, I
do?
don't even know.
Who, out of the reality universe of all the cast members that you know, who do you think would be a good match for Jess?
Oh gosh. Well, I was just watching MILF Manor before,
Okay.
and there were some nice gentlemen on there that might be more her
Were there?
speed than the children she was dating on Perfect
Okay.
Match.
Anybody in particular we should try to set her up with?
No, I think she's looking in all the wrong directions. I like Jess. I think I can relate to her on a lot of levels, being a single mom for a very long
Yeah.
time. And there is no one on that show that is up to her speed.
No.
It
If
was like,
anybody, I thought Chris might make a good match for her, but she didn't seem interested.
no, no, they're all too young and immature. Yeah.
Well, she's not that. I don't think she's maybe 29,
Yeah,
28,
I
something like
think
that.
now she's 30 because I Googled her
Oh, you did?
actually.
Mom with the research.
Had to research because I'm like, what the heck is she doing on this show? She has a daughter, and there's no one that she should be bringing her home to her daughter.
Would you have, when you were dating and you had me as a single mom, would you have gone on a show like this or Love is Blind?
No, I wasn't ever that desperate.
Fair enough. I wouldn't have approved of any of these guys either, even as a
No.
kid.
And I wouldn't want to spend that much time away from you.
Oh, man. Okay. There goes our 15 minutes, Mom. What are we going to do now? I guess we'll just move on with this show. So then we go on to episode 2, and Dom has stolen Tolu's heart. She's very into him. Chris is very intrigued that Dominique is bisexual, and this seems to cause a lot of tension because she doesn't want to be objectified. He's intrigued by it. She kind of has this back and forth with Brighton that she can't get over. So what did you think of the new dates? Did you think either Dom and Tolu or Dominique and Chris were compatible?
No, I think Dominique, she's got a lot of insecurity issues.
It happens.
That's what
She's young.
that was my impression of her.
Okay. Do you think that there was a better match for her in the house at all?
Oh, let's see. I do like Alara. I think she's
Laura,
got a
yeah.
great personality.
Yes.
She seems like she's a lot of fun. She's got a good head on her shoulders. And she's just like a real person on the show. She's not
Do
being
you know
fake
about
about
Dated and
anything.
Related?
Dated and Related. I haven't watched that show, but maybe I need to.
I just started it last night. It wasn't her season, it was Chris's season because he's on that show as well. And siblings go on dates. They kind of the same thing where they have challenges and somebody wins and then they go out on dates. And so Chris and his brother were on the show, and they went on a date with a brother sister duo because the sister really liked, I believe, his brother. Little confusing. There's a lot of drama going on there, but that's siblings dating on the show. I know you said you wouldn't go on a show like this, but if you were going to, which of your siblings would you have wanted to go on Dating and Related with?
Oh God.
My mom has two sisters and two brothers. One has passed, but we have a big family. So who would you pick, Mom? You're stuck on a beautiful island with a bunch of beautiful singles, and aunt or uncle who?
Let's see. That's a
You
good
could go with
question.
the in-laws as well if you want.
In-laws. Oh, Aunt Joe. She
I
would
knew
be
you were going to
perfect
say that.
because she's just
She would be
a
so fun.
spitfire. She's a lot of fun.
She is. And that accent, can't beat it.
No, can't beat it.
Then you see Zenthi and Micah swapped matches. So, what did you think of that strategy?
Um, so
So now Zenthi is with
I like
Savannah.
Zenthi, and I think she's just on the show to kind of see what is happening with everybody else more than I don't think she wants to find anybody on that show for herself.
Well, I think once she saw the options, she was not about it.
Yeah,
She
she was
was
ready
hoping
to bail
somebody else
out,
would
but
come in.
she stayed on the show. I mean, she reminds me a lot. I think I said this before. She reminds me of Marissa Tomei.
Oh,
Her
you did say that. I
personality.
can see that a little bit. No, no, no. Does anybody else think that? Or were there any other celebrity lookalikes you thought? I know Micah thought Izzy looked like Jason Oppenheim from Selling Sunset.
Really?
I
No.
think the balds, they're not 6 foot 11 inches. So I think that's really all they have in common. I don't think they're particularly similar looking. But at the
Well,
end of that episode,
I have a
okay, I
question for
may
you.
have an answer.
So, do you think that Alara and Seven will last?
Long term, no. But I think that they are the only reasonable option to win this game, to win the vacation, because I don't. It's a hot mess over there, and we're gonna get there. We're only at episode 2 now. So our
Right.
current matches, Alara hasn't even come on yet. We've got Zenthi and Steven, we've got Micah and Kaz, Tulu and Dom, Elise and Harry, and then Dominique and Chris. And then we have the ever famous kissing challenge. What did you think of this, Mom? This is when I wanted to cover your eyes.
Yeah, I've seen worse than this. Don't worry. It was okay. You didn't have to cover my eyes. I, I thought that was crazy. I didn't think that was a good idea.
No, they didn't even give
No,
them mouthwash. Like you would think they have enough budget for
it's
some
gross.
gum.
I know. I hope they all got tested for COVID first.
I hope they got tested for a lot of things first.
Uh,
So
yeah,
Kaz and
I
Micah
just
win
think
this.
that was just not a good idea for the challenge.
Okay. Now Kaz and Micah win, and it's a little bit controversial because Micah had 2 of the lowest scores and then 2 of the highest scores. And I did see some people saying that potentially Kaz knew it was Micah and rated her high so that they would win. Because they're the most strategic couple, I think. They're not necessarily, even though they are matched for quite some time, they're not, they're about breaking up the other couples and the drama. Do you think that's a smart way to go about the show?
Yeah, I think so. Um, I think the wild card is Tulu and Chris.
Okay, why is that?
I am not sure what other than that he's a nice looking guy. Not sure what she sees in him.
He's pretty
Doesn't seem,
quiet. He does
he
have some
doesn't,
dance moves, Mom. He has some magic Mike in him.
yes, I did see that. Very interesting. I just don't see the connection there.
Okay, that's
Not
fair enough.
maybe strategically they're figuring out how to win the trip, but I don't see the connection between them because she seems much more mature than he is.
Well, it's hard to say because Chris is very quiet. I have to continue his season of Dated and Related. But I mean, they're kind of, yeah, they're a bit of an odd couple, but I think if you want to stay and hope that somebody else comes in when you're more compatible with, sometimes you have to kind of match up and see that through because you don't know who's coming in the door next. Like she was with Izzy for a while, decided that that wasn't her match, ended up with Chris after Dom kind of cast her off to the side. Now, I don't know, you don't remember Perfect Match 1, but Dom actually was on the first season and won with Georgia, his perfect match. There's a whole bunch of drama there. He appeared to be a much nicer guy on season 1 and took a different, more direct approach this season. And I didn't really like it. I don't think he was leading to Luan on their date. I think maybe he was just being himself and she saw more of a connection than he did. But she got really upset with him. And I didn't see him acting like she was his only one and he wanted to be with her. So I love Toulouse, but I think she was kind of smitten kitten and not paying attention to the signs. Did you think that they were a good match?
No, I feel the same way you do about that.
Yeah. And what
Definitely.
do you think of Kaz and Micah as a couple?
Um, I'm trying to think. I think they'll last.
You
I really
do?
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we have Kaz and Micah setting up dates in the boardroom. And our choices are Holly from Too Hot to Handle and Melinda from Too Hot to Handle. Jess, of course, Love is Blind, and dated and related Alara. They choose Jess to go out with Harry. So they really, even though Elise and Harry are supposed to be the solid couple, they want to break them up right away. And then Stevan and Alara. So they end up being two pretty strong couples. What do you think of setting up Harry and Jess when Elise is so attached to Harry?
Well, Elise is attached to Harry. Harry's not attached to Elise.
Well, that's
That's the
why I
problem.
didn't say that.
Harry's already moved on. He's got like only eyes for Jess, but I feel like in every episode, Jess is mothering him more than
Right? I think I call it SOS. He has shiny object syndrome. He's always on to the new, next, better thing. Even if he, quote, loves Jess, he cannot help himself because he is Harry and Harry loves women. So he cannot stay in one place
yes.
too long. And especially knowing she has a daughter, he should not have done her dirty like that. But we'll get there.
Yeah. I don't know who I believe, if I believe him or, oh, who was he
Melinda.
supposedly with? What was that?
Melinda.
Melinda, that's right.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So this scandal, did they kiss? Did they not kiss? What are your thoughts?
I don't think they did.
You don't?
No,
Mom.
no, I
Mom.
don't think so.
Come on.
I think he
Harry,
might,
you don't think Harry, he had the opportunity. He's carrying around like a little spider monkey. You don't think they kissed?
I don't think so. I hope not.
I would be shocked if they didn't. I would bet money that they did. And we're supposedly going to get some receipts next week. We're going to get some proof when the new episodes drop, but we'll see. But before we get there, him and Elise have a conversation when Jess comes in about him matching with Jess and giving Jess his watch. And he tells Elise, if you love someone, let them go. And that was so mean. She never claimed to be in love with him. Now, she's not my favorite on the show. She definitely is very spiteful in her revenge strategies. But what about their argument? Did you feel like Team Elise, Team Harry?
I think Elise is trying anything she can to get back with Harry,
Okay.
but Harry has no interest in her. I think he's
I
just,
Well, no, I think because she was there and available. But if you look back at Harry's history, he does have a type, and it is a pretty woman. And so anytime there's one that comes in, even he's already with a pretty woman, he's going to bounce, 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 bounce. And his
yes.
friend even called him out for that. Dom said that too. You hear Dom make a comment, and then Jess wants to talk about it, about how Harry is not necessarily there for all the right reasons. Not that any of them are. I mean, let's be real.
That's why I'm surprised, as smart as Jess seems to be,
Mhm.
that she's going along for the ride with Harry.
Do you think, because this is something I've seen too, do you think part of it is to put herself in a position to look good and maybe influence her career a little bit by being the mature one and handling things well? Not that she handled them completely well, but the way she's speaking to Harry and putting herself out as an example for her daughter. Do you think that's strategic, or do you think she really is smitten with him? Because they already said, I love you.
Yeah, I think she is smitten with him, and I think that she's on there for the right reasons. I don't think she needs a career boost. She's a beautiful woman. She probably has a lot of opportunities.
She
Um,
does. I've seen her everywhere.
but as far as choosing the right guy, no. Even on Love is Blind, I was surprised about who she picked.
Oh, with Jimmy? Well, you
Yes,
can't see what they look like.
I know, but I didn't even see the right connection between them. I think it
Well,
was more like
remember
a
that they're
force.
in the dates for hours each day, and we only see maybe 5, 10 minutes of each couple. So we don't really know what happened behind the scenes.
That's
Hair's
true.
all over the place.
Yeah, I think she's making all the wrong choices. She needs to call that matchmaker girl in California and
Hattie
find
Stanger?
some Patty Stanger. Yeah.
Oh, I was watching old episodes of that show, The Millionaire Matchmaker. She is mean with no reason to be. She is calling women fat, telling them to get nose jobs, telling them to redo their hair. I mean, it's a little
She's
extreme.
she's got some new episodes out though.
Are they better?
Yes,
Is she
they are.
still mean like that? Because she's pretty, but she's not like telling other people to improve their appearance pretty.
Well, the funny part is that she's single. She got divorced.
I know. I was thinking that too. I was telling you about my friend Craig, who I set up on a date through this Facebook group. And I was like, oh, this is so fun. I want to be a matchmaker. And I'm like, that probably wouldn't be very successful because I haven't matched with anybody permanently myself.
Wow.
And the girl is, well, we'll talk about that later. I have a story next time I see you. It was an interesting
Okay.
match, to say the least. Okay, so
Sounds
then we're
good.
rolling into episodes 4 and 5, and these I kind of mashed together because compared to the rest of the drama of the show, there wasn't a ton going on. But Dom and Talou win the date. They go into the boardroom, and their choices again are Nigel from Too Hot to Handle. Now we have new choices: Justin from Surviving Paradise, Trevor from Love is Blind, and Jake from The Ultimatum. Now I know you saw Trevor from Love is Blind, so
Right.
tell me your opinion on him.
What the heck is he doing on the show? I thought we were done with him.
Do you
Uh,
want to be done with him?
yeah, I think
She says, yeah. Oh,
uh,
mom.
I was disappointed that all the truth came out about him, that he already had a
Yeah.
girlfriend on the last show, and who knows what he's doing now, just to get noticed again.
Well, that didn't come out publicly until after Perfect Match had already aired. So I
Right.
don't know the timeline of how everybody else found out about it on the cast and if Jess knew about that. It kind of seems like maybe she did because she alludes to a fresh start with him. But we didn't know that. And now this show came out like a year after it filmed. So this has all been a roller coaster. A lot of these people are already in other relationships, they've already moved on. Maybe Trevor had a lesson from getting a public lashing on Netflix. But
I
he's
don't see
back. He doesn't
anybody
have
in
to
the
go on a
house
date.
though that he would match with.
You don't, well,
Um,
he paired with Chelsea. He liked Chelsea on Love is Blind.
right.
But I don't see similar personalities there. You're right. Other than that, Jess and Chelsea are friends.
No, I like Chelsea.
I
He
like
is not
Chelsea
in her
too.
league. Definitely not in Chelsea's league. He needs to go
Okay,
on the
so
Farmer Meets a Wife or something like that.
to go on the farmer meets a wife. He's not a farmer.
That's okay.
Okay. Now, they send Tulu and Jake on a date because Tulu wants to be done with Dom. Did you see this gym? It looks like they made it, they called it a Flintstones gym. Everything was made out of wood. There were baskets. It was a very weird date. I don't know if they were just bored and built this gym. I don't know if it comes with the resort that they're staying at. It was a
Yeah.
gym date in bikinis is a little awkward.
Yeah. That was weird, that whole scene. Um, and I don't know. Jake seems to have a hard time connecting with anybody.
He was very quiet on his season of the show, kind of what you see of him on Perfect Match. The little bit that you see is the same consistent personality wise on Perfect Match. So I think she's just too strong of a personality for him.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I also don't think there was anybody else in the house that really would have paired well with Jake, who just
She looked,
celebrated a birthday. So happy birthday, Jake.
yeah, happy birthday, Jake. But Tulu looked bored. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then we had Elise and Justin on an ice bath date. Have you ever done an ice bath? I've heard they're really good for you.
No, no desire to do that, but I did hear that they're very good.
I'm good too. I'd rather do a sauna than an ice bath. We live in Arizona, so we're all about the hot weather. We left New
Definitely.
York for a very good reason. So then we get back to the house. Jake gets jealous of Toulouse chatting with newbie Justin, and he's in and out. He was barely in that house. I mean, I think you blink and you miss him. And then Harry starts crying about Jess and his life after their 3 whole days together. And yet somehow, as you know, they match again. So the matches are Jess and Harry, Elise and Justin, Toulouse dumps Dom for Chris, Alara and Stevan are number 1 couple so far, and Micah and Kaz. Who do you see partnering up, staying the long haul out of any of those couples?
Um, that's a good question. I think, let's see.
You looking at your notes?
I'm looking at my notes. I think Alara and Stevan.
Okay, yeah, I agree. They are the strongest couple. And I don't think they intended to be, but I do think that their connection is genuine and that whether they make it the long haul or not, that they are there loosely for the right reasons. As much
Yes.
as you can be on this show.
And she's got a great personality. Like she will
She's
have
very
no
bubbly.
trouble meeting somebody in the
They're
future.
also young too. That's the other thing. I think people forget they're all like 23, 25. They're not really, I mean, maybe they're looking to settle down, but probably
No,
not.
I mean, really? They said they all have to grow up first.
Do you remember they're all kind of sitting in a little group and they're talking about twins? And I forget who has one of the guys has a twin and it's a sister. And Chris asks, and this is for some reason a big moment and a big topic on the show, if it's identical or fraternal twin when they're opposite genders. Do you remember this?
No, I don't remember that.
And then there's also a moment a little bit later on the show when Britton comes in and she's talking to, I think, Kaz. And he asks where she's from. And she says Hawaii. And he thinks that that's another country.
I know. That was so funny. I could, that was historical.
Not the
And she's
brightest
looking
crayons
at
in the
him
box.
like, really?
Not the brightest crayons. So then we
No.
move into episode 6, and Alara and Stevan, your favorite couple right now, win. And they decide that they're going to send Chris on a date with Melinda. And then they decide to send Kaz on a date to maybe break up Kaz and Micah. They're a little bit of a threat. They've won a challenge before. And Kaz goes on this mud spa date with Holly. Tell me about it,
Well,
Mom.
that was interesting, I have to say. He looked like he was interested in her, for sure.
I know. I thought for sure they were going to match. I was surprised that they did not.
I was surprised as well. I thought he's going to definitely pick her. And I think she was shocked.
I think so too. And I didn't know, I kind of had an idea when they sent everybody out in groups by gender that the others were going to come back. But I don't know if they knew that for sure. So I don't know if Holly knew that she'd get another chance or if she might be matched again. But it kind of seemed like she wasn't that nervous about it. She's been on, she was on Too Hot to Handle. Most of these casts were on Too Hot to Handle. I don't know if the other shows just weren't interested. They knew how it played out. But the majority of this cast is from multiple seasons of that show. Who did you think Kaz was going to pick out of those two?
Let's see.
So you
I
have the
thought,
blonde and the brunette bombshells, and then Kaz in the middle.
yeah. What was the brunette's name again?
Holly.
Holly, yeah. I thought he was gonna. I think he's tired of listening to Micah whine. She's very
Okay.
insecure.
Do you remember her from her season of Love is Blind?
Yes, I do remember her.
Did you like
I mean,
her?
she's nice, but she's very insecure. And it's
Yeah.
redundant how she's constantly bringing up that he's not as invested in her as she is in him.
To be fair, you do see his head turning quite a bit anytime somebody new comes into the villa.
Yes.
Or I don't know what we're calling it, the house, the mansion. You get it, where everybody else is staying. So then they kind of leave it on a cliffhanger. The matches are Lou and Chris, Elise and Justin, and then Alara and Stevan. And then we move into episode 7. And of course, Love is Blindfolded. Jess and Harry pair off. We think that Kaz might choose Holly, but he goes back to Micah. And then they go into another compatibility challenge, the ropes course. Did you notice that all the couples chose to have the women leading the men?
Yes.
What did you think about that?
I thought that the women can strategically figure out how to win that game before the guys can.
I am terrible at directions, as you well know. So I don't know that I would have wanted to be, I think I would have rather been blindfolded and have somebody leading me because left, right, depending on who you're facing, west, east, north, south. But
That was a hard challenge.
yeah.
That wasn't easy.
Do you think you could have won any of these challenges with Larry?
Oh God, no. Because Larry would be analyzing it for an hour before he did it.
He can't. They start when they start.
Yeah, no, we couldn't do that
Okay.
challenge.
No, Micah and Kaz win again. And they
Right.
run on up to the boardroom. And it's a co-ed day. So instead of picking just men or just women to go on dates, they have the option from Christine, Nigel, and Britton from Too Hot to Handle. And then Trevor pops up again from Love is Blind. So they end up sending the strong couple, Alara and Stevan. And then they go out with Nigel, who is supposed to be very close to Alara's type, and Britton, who is supposed to be very close to Stevan's type. I will get that eventually. Now, what do you think of those two couples? So, reminder, Nigel is tall, dark, handsome, lots of abs. Britton is petite, cute, blonde, pinkish hair.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of hers.
You didn't like Britton? What about Nigel? What did you think of Alara and Nigel's date?
I liked Laura and Nigel's date.
Okay.
I think they would be a good match.
And then, of course, Elise is still here trying to cause drama and stir up trouble between the matches. And when they get back to the house, she decides to break up Micah and Kaz by having Britton and Nigel go flirt with the couple, Kaz and Micah. A lot of names here. But the bigger drama that they kind of glossed over is that Britton and Stefan kissed on their date. Did you pick up on
Right.
that?
Yes. I was surprised about that.
Yeah, I mean, he did tell her right away, so we'll give him kudos there. But they kind of didn't focus on that and went immediately over, maybe because Laura didn't make a big deal of it. She seems very laid back. Right on over to Elise stirring up this trouble and Kaz getting very upset that there's all this plotting and scheming on a game show. It's essentially a game show, right? Like, yeah, we can call it a dating show, but there are dates, but they're competing for a prize, which is a vacation. I thought there was money involved, but I guess it's just a vacation.
I hope they're getting paid well because that's a lot to go through for a vacation.
You know, I talked to, not about this show, but I talked to CJ yesterday from The GOAT. And she was saying, at least on that show, they get paid the same amount no matter how long they're there. Their appearance fee is the same. So she wanted to go
Wow.
home after a few days. She didn't even pack for that long and wasn't expecting to stay as long as she did. So I'm wondering if maybe the longer they stay on this show, because that does happen sometimes, the longer they stay, the more they get paid. So maybe it's by
True.
the week. I'll have to see if I can find that out. That's a good point because I don't know. It seems like everybody wants to stay very badly. And sure, they're at a resort and it's this beautiful island paradise and there's all these good looking people there, but no phones, no iPads, no laptops. I mean, like maybe puzzles and books and just each other to talk to. I think I'd get bored of that after a week at most. I'd be ready to go home.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it. It's a lot to go through just for a vacation, I think.
Right? Like, what kind of vacation is
Definitely.
this? Where are they going? How many stars is the resort? Are they getting first class flights? They're already on a vacation. And doesn't anybody have a job? Don't these people have to go back to work?
Oh gosh, that's an interesting question. They probably all take leave of absence.
I know, but they're already gone for, I think, this filming 3 weeks. And they came from other shows. So, however long they were on those shows, and Love is Blind is about a month. I don't know about Too Hot to Handle. I think that's a little bit longer. But a lot of them make a lot of money influencing, but I don't think every single one of them can be full time on their influencer careers. And I know even like Chelsea is back to work from Love is Blind, Laura's back to work. So, and they have a lot of side hustles going on. Laura has her own merch design business. Chelsea, obviously, a flight attendant and has an event planning business, which they're going on a trip. I think they're going to Spain, Mom. We should look at that. Look into
Well,
going with them.
I did see Chris on Instagram today.
Oh, you
Did
did?
he?
You know, he
Yeah,
said he
did
would
he?
come on the show and then he ghosted me. What else is
He
new?
did? Oh, that's not
Yeah.
right, Chris. I'm coming for you, Chris.
Do it, Mom.
Don't
DM him.
don't be ghosting my daughter. No,
Right?
that isn't happening.
No. I should, you
No,
know what? Why didn't I think I should stick you on him, Mom? He should
that's
know
right.
better. Because he even commented when I made a post joking about having you on the show to talk about this show. Because there's a lot of sexy, scandalous moments. He was laughing at it and we just messaged very quickly back and forth. He said he could do it this week, which was this week that just passed. And then I never heard anything again.
Well, look, I sent you something on him on Instagram, so check that
Okay.
out.
What did you send? You can share here. We're all friends.
No, he's like trying to put little innuendos about how the show ends.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, I think everybody's going to tease it to try and get more people to tune in. I mean, it was filmed so long ago. There's going to be a lot of spoilers out. I've managed to avoid most of them. That's probably the one downside to doing this is I always get the show spoiled, even when I try not to. I had I'll give a spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about a little bit of what happened on the GOAT this past week. So if you haven't seen it, skip ahead about 2 minutes, we'll estimate. So when I got the email from CJ's manager, I knew she was getting eliminated on the GOAT because they can't do media and they can't do press until after they've come off the show in that particular show. And up until this point, I've been able to go spoiler free on one show. And I had so much fun talking to her. I know you came on at the end of the live. She is so funny. She does stand up as well. And she said she's not going to do another reality show. I hope she does because she's hilarious to watch. And so haven't gone spoiler free in a single season of a single show yet, but here's hoping maybe one day. And at this point is when all the guys go off on one outing and all the girls go off on another. Did you know what was happening when they sent them off like that?
I knew it was going to be something scandalous. They had to mix it up a little bit and start some trouble.
I know. And then I love that they gave them all little tags for how you might know them on their prior shows. Did you catch for Trevor? They really did him a little dirty. It said single when convenient.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Which is, you know, to be fair, quite accurate. And I've heard that Trevor's a very nice dude, maybe not in relationships, but as a person, I've heard he's very nice. And he was actually the inspiration for putting together the charity event that we're doing, the trivia night, because he fosters dogs. And so when I saw that, I kind of was just, the wheels started turning of how we could all help animals. And then he hasn't agreed to come on. I wouldn't blame him if he didn't because he catches a lot of heat. But if he ends up seeing this, Trevor, we've got a spot open for you on a trivia team and we'd love to have you. And maybe you can truly redeem yourself because I don't think this show is Trevor's show. What about you?
No, I think they just threw him into the mix, but I don't think it's going anywhere for him.
Okay. Now everybody's mingling. We get to the Melinda and Harry scandal. Did I say Miranda before? No, I'm pretty sure I said Melinda.
No, you said Melinda.
I was right? I got it right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just making sure. You don't think they kissed. I think there's no way they didn't kiss. But that's not the only drama. You've got Brighton back. Mr. Yoga is not a workout. And he's going for Micah. Izzy's going for Micah. Obviously, she's got something we don't see here because it does look like, as Steven called her, she's a bit of a fun sponge from what we see. And I know there's a lot more that gets recorded we don't see. But all these guys thirsting over her. What do you think they see in Micah?
Well, she's very pretty. And she seems like she's genuinely interested in making a permanent match.
You think so?
More than, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Do you think back to her season, she had asked Paul to go first when the officiant asked her if she did or didn't? Do you think she would have said yes if she went first?
I think so.
Really?
I think she's really
opposite ends here.
Invested in having a relationship long term.
Okay, fair enough. And she might now. We don't know. She's kept that under wraps as far as we know. And then you had mentioned, and I think this is the greatest example, when they get back to the house, Harry is in his room throwing a temper tantrum, crying. He's given just love notes and then had Melinda climbing all up on him. And she mothers him big time. Mm-hmm. But when she asks, they're all the women are seated at a table having a conversation, which you know is never a good sign for the men, asks Melinda what happened. Melinda tells her, and then she got mad at Melinda for telling her what happened. So how do you think that was handled between Jess and Melinda?
I think Jess would have preferred to do it in private, had a conversation one-on-one, rather than at the table with all the other women.
Sure. And it could have been the producers telling them they all had to sit down and talk about it that way. But if she felt that way, why not pull her aside first instead of sitting down with everybody? Because of course they're going to talk about what happened. Right.
Well, I mean, afterwards they did talk one-on-one. They did go off.
And
while Harry was in the room crying and kicking and screaming.
Yeah, wang, wang, wang. And for somebody who says he's trying to also set a good example for Autumn, who is young but seems mature, if you've seen her on Micah's, you've seen her on Jess's Instagram feed. They do some, because she's an appropriate age to be doing her TikTok dances and, on camera with her mom. So do you think Harry's behavior was appropriate for a potential stepfather to a young, impressionable woman, regardless of whether they actually kissed or not? Him and Melinda.
No. Oh God, no. No. Because
Not having it?
no, I'm not having it. He was really acting so immature, and like Steven said, and I said it before, he's a man child.
He is a man child.
And
Yeah,
he
I
just
agree.
has a
Now, I
lot of
know he
growing up to do. It's not even, it's night and day. I mean, I don't know why I think Jess was really attracted to him physically,
sure.
but emotionally, they're light years apart.
Yeah, and I think it must be hard for her too, if she's in a position of being a role model, to just hop to the next person when she committed pretty hard to Harry from the beginning. But she knew his reputation beforehand too. And she gave him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think he deserved it because, yes, he's been going to therapy, but obviously he hasn't learned his lesson. Just because he made some progress doesn't mean that he's in the right position for a relationship like that. I don't
True.
know. I'd find a new therapist if I were Harry because it's not working too great from what I can see.
Yeah, Harry. He needs to find somebody younger, not someone with a child already.
I think just keep playing the field. There's nothing wrong with it if you make your intentions clear, but in every relationship he's been in, he does not do that. He just moves on, moves on, moves on, moves on. He was on Dancing with the Stars. There were rumors that he was dating his professional, the dancer that he was with, Riley. Um, then that was supposedly right around the time Perfect Match wrapped. And so did he or didn't he cheat on Jess then if they got back together? So this is not Harry's first scandal. He's dated almost everyone in the Netflix universe or hooked up with them. So
I'm sure he has. I'm going to have to check that out, Dancing with the Stars. I'm surprised
yeah,
they picked him to go on that show.
not bad at all. And he went on the tour too. As a dancer, he
Wow.
fine. It's just as a human being in the dating world. And
Wow.
he didn't. He probably doesn't even know I asked, but his managers turned me down for an interview, which if you're going to come on any show to try and redeem yourself, you want to come on the Love Pod because I never come hard at any of these people who probably deserve it in these relationships.
Right. Right.
So,
I mean,
Harry, I'm no longer a fan.
Jess should have ran for the hills after that show.
She should have. And then Kaz and Micah have been on the rocks the whole time. Holly's back in the house now. And from what we see, he didn't even have a full-on conversation telling Micah it wasn't going to work out. They argue, and then he goes makes out with Holly and matches with her completely out of the blue from what it looks like on our end. Did you see that coming?
I did because I think he's tired of her constant insecurities. It was over and over and over again about, you know, is he fully invested in her? Is he not fully invested in her?
Right.
Obviously, if he was able to just pick up and leave for Holly, he's not invested in her.
Yeah, that's true. And they always seem to move on. And it's been known that Holly is his type. I don't buy that Holly's super into him. I think she wanted to get into the house, but they still have chances to match because once Holly and Kaz match, or no, Holly and Kaz don't match, they just make out. Kaz then jumps ship again, same episode, and matches with Christine.
I'm trying to remember.
Do you remember that part? That was like the very end of this episode.
I'm going to have to go back and look at that. I'm surprised about that.
Yeah, so he doesn't break up with Micah, goes and makes out with Holly, which it was in the context of a game, but they really made out. And then has a conversation with Christine and matches with Christine, also not ending things with Holly. Not that he had to, they had one date, whatever. But So they're the first match. Kaz and Christine couple up, and it's later days. He doesn't talk to Micah. He just goes.
Christine is brunette,
The very tall brunette.
tall. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So Christine is legs for days. He matches with Christine. And I don't like, I wish they had ceremonies like the rose ceremony so everybody kind of knows what's going on. It seems like they just match on the down low and then go off into their separate rooms. And you don't necessarily know unless somebody tells you who's matching with who from the cast. We know, obviously, it says it right on the screen. Okay, so you don't remember Kaz and Christine matching. Maybe that's because they hopped around so quick from woman to woman to woman. And then Elise and Brighton match. So again, Elise with a vendetta for Harry and Brighton, who was trying to go after Micah, but then flipped the script and for whatever reason went after Elise instead. Do you remember this kind of, I'm going to call it a revenge pairing because I think they weren't each other's first matches, but I think Elise, well, I know Elise said that Chris came on, or Justin came on way too strong. She was not about that commitment.
Yeah. I think that was just a last minute desperate move on their parts.
Okay. I did not like how the behavior that she called Harry out for, she did to Chris. It was very hypocritical. Okay. Elise and Brighton. And then Micah gives Izzy a friend match. But were you excited to see that Izzy's back and he's going to be in the house for a bit?
Yes, I was. Because, like I said earlier, I think he's the only sincere, real person on that whole show.
But as far as we know, all the women who we've seen so far are the only women we're getting, and all the men that we've seen so far are the only men we're getting. Because we're getting towards the end. The season finale is the next set of episodes. So do you think there's any, out of all those women, there's any matches in the house for Izzy realistically?
Maybe a long shot would be Micah.
You really think? Because she has not expressed any interest. The only reason I think she matched with him is because she had said she felt comfortable with him. And I think that is friend zone permanent.
Yeah. But I think she would feel more stable around him.
Okay.
Since he seems like a sincere person.
Well, they've got one more week to figure it out. And then, were you surprised that Tolu and Chris matched again?
Yes. I think Tolu is light years ahead of Chris. As far as maturity goes.
Okay. I don't disagree with you, but I don't feel like we've seen enough of Chris to really know, other than knowing that he used to be a stripper and that he's more cool, calm, and collected, I think, than most of the cast. He doesn't seem to let much ruffle his feathers.
I think he stays with Tolu because of the stability factor.
Okay. That's not the worst thing in the world for a show like this. It's good that you're not a Kaz hopping and hopping and hopping all within the same 20 minutes. And then, yes.
I was just thinking about, so it's more, I think with Tolu and Chris, it's more of a strategy than a love match.
Now, from what I remember, the cast members are going to have to vote who the actual perfect match is. I cannot see this, especially at this point, this late in the game, being anybody but Steven and Alara. If they weren't to win, what is your second choice couple from who we see right now? So there's Kaz and Christine, Elise and Brighton, Micah and Izzy, and Tolu and Chris.
Probably, like I said, Tolu and Chris. I think it's more of a strategy with them to win the show.
And they're the only ones who have been together any length of time before Alara and Steven. So I don't think there's many options. I think it's pretty clear who's going to end up winning, unless there's some crazy drama and somebody proposes out of the blue, which could happen. It happened last season. We don't know.
I think there's going to be a wild card thrown in there on the next episode.
Like another person, or what kind of wild card?
It's one of the other couples is going to be more bonded.
You think it's going to be Tulu and Chris?
No, I'm not sure,
Okay.
but I think something's gonna go on that we
Okay.
don't expect.
Any final thoughts on this chunk of episodes before we wrap up for the day?
My final thoughts are, it's shocking how desperate everybody is to find somebody that they have to go on this show and go through all of this just to try to match up with somebody that probably not going to stay with anyway.
Okay.
It's a
All
lot to
right.
go through.
It is. It was a lot of episodes. We were going to try and record earlier in the week for the first six, but 6 episodes even is a lot to try and remember everything that happened. I
It
mean,
is.
it's a lot going on. That's why we both kept notes. Can you show your notebook real quick, Mom?
My notebook? Oh my gosh.
You don't have to show
I
the
can?
inside, but just the cut, that it's,
Oh,
you know what I mean.
yes.
Yes.
Here we go.
Yep, there you go. So those notebooks, Mom is the first official one to have a notebook, are available in the Etsy merch store, lovepodrealitytv.etsy.com. You can get yours, and will you flip it over on the back, Mom? Our Vanna White. Of course, on the back, we have a tribute to Nick Lachey. It says, obviously, with a gold wine glass. Thank you, Mom.
Well, they
Thanks,
had
Vanna.
white wine glasses.
Then, of course, if you liked this episode or you want to check out our interviews with the cast of Perfect Match, Love is Blind, The GOAT, House of Villains, or The Circle, we have got them all there on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for you. You can follow us on every social media network at Love Pod Podcast, and you can rate and review us on your favorite podcasting app. Don't forget to subscribe. We love you, and we will see you next week. I love you, Mom.
Bye, everyone.
Don't go anywhere.
Okay. Hey, I'm
Hey,
back.
welcome. You're back, everybody. Please welcome my mom back to the Love Pod. We love having her here.